We're here with LCM's Matthew Broadbent, and today we're going to be discussing researching firms, law firms, which is obviously a crucial thing to do if you're going to successfully obtain a training contract or work experience and so on. So first, let's establish, Matt, just quickly, why researching firms is just so important rather than firing out, say, some generic applications and so on.
Well, every application needs to be targeted at a specific firm. Every firm is a different proposition, every firm operates differently, so you actually have to, first of all, understand what you're applying to, and obviously in turn that means why you're applying to it, and that involves a lot of research, understanding why that firm is distinct, and also demonstrating why you understand, how you understand that firm to be distinct, because a recruiter is going to be looking for individuals who really have properly researched their organisation, want to go to their organisation, just don't want to be any old lawyer. This same sort of thing comes up in the interview as well. Every firm is going to be asking you, why do you want to join our firm, and you need to have some compelling reasons.
And is it pretty fair to say as well that you need to find out what kind of firm would be best for you to work in, because every firm is different and you don't want to end up somewhere where you might be unhappy?
Well, there's a lot of criteria that you need to be thinking about when deciding on a firm. In broad terms, what does that firm do, who does it serve, what's the environment of that firm? It might affect decisions based around size, the location of the firm. All of these things are going to be germane to you specifically, so you've actually got to work out what your priorities are. You can then use the materials that are available to you, such as the Law Careers Net directory of training contracts, to narrow down that search to firms that fit your broad categories. But then within that group, you've got to do forensic research to appreciate their differences, to pick out the ones that are going to be right for you, because you've got to remember that you can only do a finite number of applications really, really well.
Sure. So there's lots of categories to think about, like location, culture, size, the practice areas they do, recent deals, their competitors. How would you first start going about finding this out? We've mentioned the Law Careers Net directory, which you can use to filter your searches by various criteria, but then you've also got to go outside LCM to firms' websites and so on. So how would you read a firm's website, and what would you look for there?
Well, the firm's website is the really crucial one. Now, when you're looking at a firm's website, you're naturally drawn, of course, to the information about training opportunities. That will give you the information about how the firm actually runs its recruitment process. It might give you some indicators of what they're looking for. But remember, that content is primarily PR. It's designed to give a good impression of the firm and convey information about the basics of applying to that firm. But actually, if you want to get under the skin of that firm, you've got to look at how they speak to their clients, because that's what their business is. And understanding their business is a key commercial awareness task. So what you want to see is how, what practice areas are they talking about on their site, because that will give you an impression of what they do. Hopefully pick up some information on clients, be that individual clients or classes of clients, perhaps an industry sector. Look at some of the deals they've been doing, look at the news that they might be putting out, articles they're writing. All of this stuff gives you a much stronger feel for that firm. So there's a mine of information on the firm's website, but you've actually got to perhaps read between the lines rather than just take it as read, because a lot of this stuff can look generically similar. Some firms are better than others in really bringing their websites alive.
And related to that also is, of course, firms' increasing use of social media, right? So if you look at a firm's Twitter account, some firms are much more active than others. You can really see what the recruiters and or lawyers are talking about and maybe base some further research on that.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid law firms are not going that well on the social media front yet. I think probably, as it stands at the moment, other areas of lines of inquiry might be just Google the firm, see what is there or thereabouts. You might find stuff in the legal press. You might find how they sort of perhaps even impact on the more general press, the business press, or even the normal national press or local press, and see where that firm perhaps fits into the society around it. Again, that's going to give you an idea of what they're all about. And the other one that's the hardest to do of all, though, I think, is, and perhaps preempts your next question, is understanding the culture of the firm, and that's hard to do without actually talking to people. So I'd say that's your next stage, is actually talking to people within the firm. Now, how you do that, well, yeah, there's various ways. If they come onto your campus, brilliant, that's the best shortcut. But you know, you can get in touch with them. If you're asking intelligent, well-informed questions, they'll be keen to help. You also might be able to use, you know, other networks that you can tap into. If you can somehow find a social connection to someone working within a firm and go out for a coffee with them, that might give you a lot of insight as well. So quite often the case is make your own luck by actually, you know, thinking of something that other people haven't thought about, but don't stalk them.
Yeah, and of course for meeting firms in person, you could also utilise your student law society's activities and firm open days and networking events that put on as well.
Exactly, there's a plethora of these things. Again, look in something like the Law Careers Net Diary, that will give you an idea of that, but firms will typically publicise when they're out and about. Some are more accessible than others. It's also important to get a balance, so speak to a few firms, see what seems to be constant across a series of firms and what's distinct to specific firms, because again, then you'll understand this is standard, this is different, and that's one of your differentiators.
Okay, thanks Matt.
You're welcome.